Should be a herd. Sorry, we didn't mean to. You were just hiding around the corner. What could we do? We apologize profusely.
Sorry.
Yes, there we go. So he could be by himself. He could have been pushed out of the herd. But what I'm hoping is he's on the periphery of a bigger breeding herd. Was that nice? Just say we'd like to see some elephants and around the corner. It's amazing how the bush works like that. You never know what's going to be around the next corner. So I'm hoping he hasn't annoyed the adult females in the herd too much, that he's been chased far away, and that he's just on the peripheries. So he's probably, he's a teenager, and when they are that age, they are pushed to the peripheries and sometimes pushed completely out of the herds because their testosterone's running, and they just tend to be a little bit too boisterous and aggressive around the females with the young calves, so they actually get pushed out of the herd. And if he's heading off in that direction, hopefully the rest of the herd's off in that direction. So being a teenager, he might shake his head at us quite a bit, trumpet and make noise. He's just showing off like most teenagers, specifically teenage boys. There we go. Head up. He's reminding us that he's big and scary. I just saw a branch flicking off, but it's not. He's gonna chase an impala just because he can. By the looks of his demeanor, he's dropping his head. He's getting ready. There's an impala scratching his head against the bush. There we go. Chase the impala just to show how tough he is, being a proper teenage boy. The impala didn't actually take too much notice of him. Now he's turned around to look at the impala again. He's like, oh, they didn't actually run, but they should run from me. I'm big and I'm scary. What's going on? I'm an elephant. Everyone's supposed to be scared of me. But most animals in the bush know or can recognize the behavior of a young bull elephant, and they don't take too much notice of it. I mean, the impala moved off about 5 meters. He's looking like he wants to go chase them again. He's sort of giving them the evil eye. You can see the impala. There's the elephant, and the impala just off to the right. And they took very little notice of his trumpeting. So it'd be quite nice to stay with this young bull for a while, see if he does lead us towards a breeding herd. He's calmed down now. He's finished showing off and he's started feeding again. Maybe slowly mobile through the block. And it's quite possible he is tracking a bigger herd. So we'll just sit with him for a little bit and see where he leads us. So I think I might be able to actually hear some other elephants ahead of him. I'm just going to move forward a little bit, see what we can see there. And elephant herds quite often can spread over quite a big distance. There we go. I thought I heard some more elephants. There's looks like a big cow up ahead, so let's go have a look if there are any little ones there. Fantastic when the bush sort of answers your question or answers your wishes. Say, oh, I haven't seen elephants in a while. I'd really like to see some elephants. And then, boom, not even a minute later, we bump into the little boy, and he's led us to a herd. just going to have a look. There's some cows off to the right. I just think that looks like some more out in a bit more open area up ahead. Oh, and it looks like they're actually in a mud wallow. Aha, isn't this going to be fun? There's two young ones playing in the mud with another younger bull. Just going to try and find the best spot to see the wallow. Try a little bit forward. Just unfortunately, you don't want to go too close and scare them, make them leave the wallow. But see, it's very important to keep your movements very slow and deliberate around elephants, so you're not trying to be aggressive. And here we go. Looks like lots of fun. I want to go play in the mud. So what they're doing now is they're just a bit curious. They've just noticed us. All having a scratch. They look like some more elephants coming from behind to join this wallow. This big female in front of us looks like she's pretty much finished with the wallow. Now probably can go find a nice tree to rub on. There we go. Here we go. Just as predicted, rubbing on. But this little boy is going to follow his mom. So we got here just in the nick of time as they were finishing their mud bath. There is another elephant coming towards the mud wallow. Might just sit here for a minute and see what happens. It sounds like there's action behind us. This is actually a very big group of elephants. I mean, they're very spread out, but there are a lot of them around us. So wasn't that wonderful? We came around the corner. I just said, wouldn't it be nice to see some elephants? I haven't seen them in a while. We came around the corner, almost had a head-on collision with a young bull. He trumpeted us a little bit, and chased some impala. And then we decided to just stay with him and follow him, because quite often those young bulls are on the peripheries of a bigger breeding herd. And now we're literally surrounded by possibly 30, 35 elephants. There's some youngsters. There were a couple having a mud bath, but they've finished. And now I think they're going to, after the mud bath, one looks like it's having a dust bath. Just going to move forward a little bit. See if we can get it. Shot of that one now throwing sand on top of the mud. Unfortunately, it's a little bit thick in here, so we can't actually go any closer at the moment. And so, after mud bath, dust bath. This helps with parasites. So basically, the mud will harden. The dust's quite nice and soothing and cooling. But what will happen if they do have parasites like ticks and that on their skin? They will bathe in the mud, and once the mud dries, they'll find a nice rubbing post, a tree, normally, and then they'll rub, and those parasites will come off encased in the mud. last station go again. I'm going to try reposition where we can get possibly a better view. There's a cow who's a bit closer to us who's also started the mud, the sand bath after the mud. So when dry, that's good. So and she's still there. So we're literally surrounded by about 35 elephants now that I can sort of see. It could be a few more. There's others moving in and out, but they are spread out over quite a wide area. Oh, isn't that nice? You can just hear elephants everywhere. I can't see all of them. At the moment, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Standing by. Not yet there. Still Mlungu's there. There's another nice big elephant cow behind us. Afternoon, Kuhuma's left lying up near the junction of the road that comes from Ingerskai to Twin Dams. There's a fresh quarry bush in the road. Visual is about 2 out of 5 and only space for one vehicle there in the Tomboti thicket. And there's a large clumber of Indlov on Ingwe Alley, which is that little link road, that little link 2-track that runs from Twin Dams to Philemon's Dip. Apparently there was a report of Karula around Bofazok Dam. I wasn't out this morning, so I'm not sure. Hello, little one. There's a nice young elephant. Probably around a year old. Still. Good afternoon, Charlie, who's tweeting us this afternoon. And Charlie would like to know, how do they prevent dust going into, breathing in the dust when they are spraying themselves with dust? Well, Charlie, an elephant's trunk is made up of thousands of muscles, and also there's very, very thick, bristly hair in that, and they are able to just suck it, but not all the way in. So obviously they don't suck it into their lungs, and then they blow it out that way. And then we can have a look. This female is probably the mother of the little one we're just looking at. You can see she's lactating. Her udders are swollen, and that little one still, you see by the way he was using his trunk, is not ready for too many solids. So, and you can actually see that it's actually her nipple's a little bit wet, so it's probably been fed on in the last 10 or so minutes. And I'm quite sure, just looking at the proximity of that small elephant we just saw, that this is mom. Nice big female, nice long ivory for an elephant cow in this area. And see, the elephants also be quite happy by the rain we had recently. It's greened up the grass. And generally elephants, if they have a choice, will prefer to graze. So in the summer months, about 80% of what they eat is made up of grass. It's generally sweeter and higher nutritional value than most of the browse. And see, there we go, now that the youngster has now fallen just behind. Pretty sure that's his mom. And it's definitely a little boy, and that's all behavior. So if it had been a female, she probably wouldn't have done that. That's very much a little boy being a boy. It's just reminding us that he's an elephant, and he's very big, and he's very scary. But he needs to run to mom in case anything gets too serious. He might even shout and scream at us now that he's a bit closer to mom. There we go. He's coming to charge us through the trees, making sure there's a couple of logs between us and him, just in case we might decide to accept his challenge. Oh, mom got a bit far. There we go. Mom, see how brave I was. Did you see that? Did you see that? I showed them, mom. Oh, I can still hear there are more elephants coming through the bush all around us. I'll try reposition again. Oh, so never-ending elephant. So, let's see who remembers a game we played a week or so ago. And that is the collective noun game. I was going to see who can remember what the collective noun for a herd of elephants is. That's the original sort of colonial collective noun for a herd of elephants. You can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can just use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. I'm just going to reverse round to get back to where that little guy was. There are more elephants, but I'd just rather wait for them to come to us. And with elephants, it's quite important to let them come into your space rather than forcing yourself into their space. That way we can watch them peacefully, and also keeping your movements and your voice very constant so they don't take it as an aggressive behavior. Those of you who might be new, you were watching this elephant cow play in the mud at the exact same time as us. This is live from the middle of the bush in South Africa at Djuma Private Game Reserve to wherever you guys might be in the world. So, as I said a little bit earlier, we're hoping that more elephants would come in for a mud wallow. And here we go. Although the little boy seems like he's a bit nervous. Isn't this incredible? For those of you who hear that, click, click, click. Sorry, that's just me taking a few pictures. It's such an incredible sighting. It's so amazing. You can see the little guy hasn't quite managed to master the walking on the mud either yet. Climbing out on his knees. So as we said a bit earlier, we're really hoping that some other elephants would move into this mud wallow, and we're really, really lucky. The big female with the nice long tusks and a little male calf of hers who's have come, and they're probably about 5 meters from us, enjoying a nice cool off in the mud bath. If you look between her legs, he's literally sliding down on his belly. He's behaving like a proper noisy little boy. Boom! He just fell in from the top of the bank. Hasn't quite got the hang of this walking on slippery surfaces yet. You see how she uses her trunk to flick the cool muddy water sort of underneath her to places that would be quite hot. Now she's actually picking up, see how she's breaking with her foot and picking up the mud. Now she's going to try using thicker pieces of mud. She's doing that to put on herself to get the thick mud to harden on her, and that's the mud that the ticks and other parasites will get caked in. And you see this little guy doesn't quite have control of his trunk yet. He's trying, but oh, isn't that cute? This guy seems to like jumping on this. Oh, no, he's going to. Oh, quite a little character, this one. And he seems to jump onto his back legs. He's done that a couple of times. Another. Here's our. Isn't that wonderful, being able to view something like that? So there's another elephant it looks like it's about to come do the same in the mud wallow. And interestingly enough, looks to be the same young boy that we initially spotted. To the left coming in now, almost about to arrive at the mud wallow. There he is. It's the same elephant that we initially spotted, that we followed through and sort of led us to the herd. So you deserve a mud bath. Here we go. Sort of reminds me of that song, Splish Splash. I was taking a bath. Another interesting thing is you can see by the way the elephants kick their feet about in it. This is how bigger pans are formed. So a shallow depression, buffalo might wallow in it, warthog, and elephants by kicking it around, spraying the mud out. This is how a bigger pan is formed over many years and lots of usage. That's why elephants are such important animals in an ecosystem, because they do change the ecosystem. And just looking around here with the pan and the push down trees, you can see there's more grass coming through here, and this is a natural process. They're not doing any damage. So this area, possibly with this pan forming and the elephants feeding and pushing down trees around it, will become a lot more open over the next 50 to 100 years. And that's a natural process and elephants are able to do that. They are able to change the environment that they are in. I don't think they consciously do it, they just do it by the way they feed and move. Well done, Kathleen, who is one of the first on Twitter to send through what the collective noun, the old collective noun for elephant was, and it's a parade of elephants. I'm sure, thanks to everyone else who wrote in and got it right. I'm sure I hear there's a lot of you, but well done to Kathleen for being one of the first. Good afternoon, Angela from Boston. Angela would like to know, do all elephants have tusks? No, Angela, they don't. Just 1 second, I'll be back to your question. He's doing something quite strange here. He's actually putting mud into his mouth and eating it. So he might have a mineral imbalance that he's trying to sort out. He just ate a little bit of mud. There, we're eating a bit more. But back to your question, Angela. Do all elephants have tusks? Majority do, Angela, but there are elephants that are born without tusks, and that's a genetic thing. And so there are some elephants that don't have tusks, but the majority do. So strange enough, we're back on the edge of the herd. So this is right on the peripheries. This young bull's obviously been very noisy, and that's why he's being pushed away from the main breeding group. He's curling his trunk around to pick up the mud. You can see how he was loosening the mud with his trunk and whatnot. Careful. So all other elephants have done this facing the other direction. We're actually in a bit of danger here. we might get a mud blast. So turn around. There we go. Good boy. So he might even use his. You see how he splashes the water up there? So he's trying to grab thicker mud with his with his trunk. Wasn't that spectacular? We're very spoiled today. We're going to move and see if we can catch up with the herd again. They seem to be heading towards quite a very steep and thick drainage line. But what we might be able to do is catch them on the other side of it. Just see them in the distance. I don't know if you could catch them disappearing there, bruh. And they've crossed through that steep drainage line. So we're going to shoot around, try to catch up with them on the other side. There are still a few elephants about. Oh, and another little baby. Oh, there's actually still quite a few right here. I'm just going to find a spot where we can get in there to have a look at them. Wasn't that fantastic? Oh, we got it. I think we've got another candidate for the mudhole. So if you want to change around again, just have a quick look. Maybe try a different angle with the mudhole this time. Yep, another candidate for the mudhole. It's a busy wallow today. This is a pretty popular mud wallow today. Another young bull has made his way toward the wallow, and we decided to take a bit of a safety move from where we were last time with the last elephant. There's a couple of those big splodges of mud nearly landed on us, so we've just changed to a different position to watch this one bathe in the wallow. If you can zoom in on his cheek and his ear there, you see it's a very green color on it. Quite interesting. What I think that's from is actually rubbing up against a tree that has a lichen on it and that coloring, but difficult to be sure. But that's what it does look like. Now you can see I was talking about how pans are formed. How each time another elephant comes in here, they kick up the mud, they spread the mud, they make it a bit deeper. Oh, have a sit down. Oh, that looks nice. That looks very comfortable. Taking it the max relax. Elephant spa day. Good afternoon, Sharon from Florida. Sharon would like to know whether I've ever been fortunate enough to be splashed by an elephant having a mud bath. It depends if you think that's fortunate or not, Sharon. I have, and it sometimes is not the best thing. That mud is quite smelly, and it can go everywhere. And I'm sure Brian would not want large pieces of mud splashed onto his camera.
Definitely not.
He'd be sitting there with a toothbrush tonight trying to clean the camera. But yeah, I've been splashed with mud, I've been sprayed with dust, and I've even been sprayed with water before. This guy's really making sure he's completely covered in mud. Maybe he's got a few more ticks than the others. Wants to get rid of them. Knows why. But I personally think he just looks like he's enjoying it. It's quite cool and soothing. And there we go. Was that fun? Very much typical young boy behavior now. He's now showing us his ears, he's telling us he's big and we mustn't mess with him. So yeah, it's very important not to move too fast and keep your voice very calm. It's just moving too quickly or doing the wrong thing when an animal that size is that close to you can result in naughty behavior by the elephant. Here he comes back around the other side. Now he'll just move on off, following the rest of the herd. And we're going to try zoom around and catch the rest of the herd on the other side of the drainage line. But wasn't that fantastic? He really looked like he was loving that. Makes me think I should actually go for a mud bath one of these days. Get rid of my parasites. So it could take us a few minutes to zoom around. We can actually, there we go again in the distance, see them on the high ground opposite us, and there's a drainage line in between. So we're going to try zoom around and catch up with them. Stations is Mokulu Shambia and Jove is slightly more about south from that little two-track that runs between Twin Dams Road and Philemon's Dip towards Weaver's Nest. I'm going to move around and stay with them for a bit longer. Is there any update on the Shambia Rider on Twin Dams near Kaya Junction? Copy that. There seems to be still a few elephants here on our left. But I think I'm trying to see there's a couple of more young bulls. So I think we'll try and catch up with the main sort of parts of the herd. Yeah, well, it looks like all young bulls still here. So we're going to try and catch up with the females and the youngsters. So I'm going to drive a little bit quicker than I normally would for a couple of minutes, just so we can zoom around. There's no real easy place to cross this drainage line, so I'm going to shoot around so that we can cross the drainage line easily.